Some more disappointing news on the Michigan football team today. Just minutes ago, it was announced that Blake Corum, Michigan superstar, All-American, All-Big Ten first-team running back, and one-time Heisman Trophy co-leader, maybe as recently as 2 weeks ago, will have knee surgery. His season, and hell, maybe his career as a Michigan football player is over. We'll tell you what we know and what that makes of the rest of this Michigan football season from a running back's perspective and an offensive philosophy. It's all coming up on the Michigan Football Report by Chat Sports right now. What a disappointing just bit of news. I mean, it's not, I guess, surprising, but I thought when he came out for the second half against Illinois, that was like, okay, this is just, it looked bad and he hobbled off. He is in pain, but man, it's not something, just last night, I've got this big wood bed frame, it sticks out. I hit my knee on the corner of the wood bed frame. I was jumping around and yelling for about 2 good minutes. It hurt for another 20. And then after that, I didn't really feel it after that. I kind of thought that's what Blake Corum was after he came on the field against Illinois in the second half. But we saw the second he got in the game, he wasn't right. Same against Ohio State, folks. He looked like he was injured, right? And I'm surprised looking back that Michigan even put him in the game, given the fact that he is now having surgery. His season is done. So hoping Blake Corum sees this video. I'll make sure I tag him in the tweet on it so he checks it out. And we know a lot of Michigan football players do watch the show, given the audience that we have amassed. So type "Get Better, Blake." I hope Blake Corum heals up, that this is a surgery. We don't know as of now. We're trying to get this content to you guys as fast as we can. We don't know yet what the extent of the injury is, but I'm guessing it's something like cleaning up, maybe like slightly torn meniscus, something like that. I don't think it's an ACL, or we probably would have heard of it. Hell, he almost guaranteed would not have played against Ohio State or in the second half against Illinois had it been something in ACL that could impact his rookie season next year in the NFL, as no one really expects Blake Corum to return in 2023. So go down in the comments, type "Get Better, Blake Corum, heal up, go make some money, man." And everyone at Michigan football, fans, coaches, players, will never forget the work you did this season and hell, last season as well. So Michigan's losing one of the great seasons in program history from the running back position. He won't have all-time stats of 1,900 yards like guys like Tamunga, Biaka-Watuka, and others amassed in their top seasons, but 247 carries was quite the workhorse. And Jim Harbaugh may get some criticism from people that they went to Blake Corum well too often, given that for a good 6-week stretch or so there, 7-week stretch, he was carrying the ball 27, 28, 31, 33, 28 times, and became almost all of Michigan's offense as Donovan Edwards was dealing with injuries, and as J.J. McCarthy and the wide receivers just could not get anything going in the passing game in the second half of the season until the Ohio State game. His 19 touchdowns, one of the great seasons in Michigan football history. Folks, for me, this injury is an absolute gut punch. I'll tell you what, I've never got emotional really in my life over injuries in sports, but man, when he went down in the end of the first half against Illinois, I always put out a halftime video on Twitter, just giving you my quick take, go through my notes in the game before we watch the second half here in the Chat Sports studio. But I couldn't do it. Because I just couldn't think about, gosh, it's so bad for Blake Corum, like what this dude's given, how hard he's worked, his story, getting up at 5 a.m. to drive 2 hours back and forth each way to high school, et cetera, to make sure he was in the right program, and his Heisman potential, national championship potential season, really in a lot of ways, did end that day. So all my terrible thoughts that day about Blake Corum, and selfishly for the Michigan football program, for this show, for my fans, those are backseat concerns, but nevertheless concerns. So it's a gut punch. I feel awful for Blake Corum and his teammates, the Michigan coaching staff, but maybe they can do what they did on Saturday at Ohio State for 3 more games, in which is rise to the occasion without their star running back, maybe even their leader. But what an awful day. I mean, all-time bad news day for Michigan football. I mean, you get Mozzie Smith 3 hours ago, 3 hours ago, gets a felony charge. And since we came on, I put in the comments of the last video. But as we were recording, and we didn't want to go back and re-record a video, so we put the video out regardless. But Jim Harbaugh did make a statement that he has known about the Mazi Smith news since it happened on October 7th. He's deeming it as, I think some of the stuff we talked about in that video was accurate. So if you haven't seen the video, here's the on the YouTube channel, here's the thumbnail that you would see. And I'm going to link yesterday's video right at the end of today's, the first paragraph of today's description of the video, or it'll be right down there in the comments. Be like, watch the Mazi Smith video from earlier. So if you haven't seen that one, it's about 2 hours old now, Jack. We've been in here a bunch. Go ahead and watch that video. But since that came out, Jim Harbaugh said Mazi Smith will continue to be a member of this team. Now, that is vague language, right? I think on the surface, people say, okay, Mazi Smith's playing, but Jim Harbaugh didn't say he's playing this Saturday, and I don't think Jim Harbaugh really never comes out and tells you if someone's suspended or, hell, even injured most times. So I don't think it's a guarantee Mazi Smith will play this weekend, but I do think it's probably very, very likely that he would play in any postseason games, the college football playoff, after this Saturday's Big Ten championship game, which Michigan will play Purdue. Now, the lines didn't change after the Mazi Smith news. But as of this moment, and we're talking about 3:05 p.m. Eastern as we're recording this, you cannot actually bet the game. They've taken the game off the board, but the line is still available to view. I don't expect it to change because I don't think the sportsbooks made this line thinking that Blake Corum would play at all. So as of now, it's not bettable, but that is remaining the line. 8 o'clock Eastern, Joel Klatt, Gus Johnson in Indianapolis, Michigan going for their second straight Big Ten championship. And now all eyes are on Donovan Edwards, folks. Michigan's sophomore superstar recruit running back had quite a good true freshman year last year. And now, I'm talking a lot, take a little drink of water there. Now that Michigan is playing a team against Purdue that I think they should handle with or without Blake Corum, all eyes are not just on Donovan Edwards today, but in the college football playoff, the semifinal. National championship potential game. Michigan will be without their best player on both sides of the ball, and we'll talk more about that in a second. But I did want to tell you about today's sponsor of the Michigan Football Report. It is brought to you by Fetch. Fetch is a super easy to use and free app that lets you earn rewards on literally anything you buy. Scan any physical receipt or e-receipt, and you earn points for your purchases. And the process only takes seconds. You don't have to worry about where the receipt is from or what's on it. So let me show you how simple it is as we pull my phone up here on the screen, folks. All you do is open up the Fetch app, you press the orange camera button and snap a photo of your receipt, and you hit submit, and you'll see that confetti pop up that'll kind of come up here on the screen. So as we're doing here in the studio, you take a picture of your receipt, it scans it, it says date, time, location. Boom! You hit that blue submit button in the bottom right corner, and the confetti starts popping. It tells you that you have earned points for that receipt. It's a very simple process. You can click on the e-receipt function, folks, and connect your Amazon account and your email address to get credit and points for your online purchases. You can then redeem those points for gift cards at places like Amazon, Starbucks, or any of hundreds of retailers and restaurants available through Fetch. Fetch is available on iPhone and Android. Use our link right down there. You've seen it at the bottom of the screen. It's chatsports.com/fetch. Earn and enter promo code CHAT. Reminder there, promo code CHAT, and earn 5,000 bonus points when you sign up. That's the equivalent of a $5 gift card. So go to chatsports.com/fetch. Download the Fetch app for iPhone or Android. Use that promo code CHAT right at sign up. You get 5,000 points. It's a free app, and this 5,000 points is only available for a limited time. So get started now. Chatsports.com/fetch. Promo code is chat down in the comments and the description of today's video. Go ahead and click on it. Use that promo code chat for 5,000 bonus points. As we said a moment ago, all eyes on Donovan Edwards. And hell, I mean, what did those eyes see when we saw him last time? When the eyes have been on Donovan Edwards in the past, folks, he has performed absolutely stunningly well. Those 2 touchdown runs, the longest 2 runs in the history of this Michigan football program against Ohio State. Donovan Edwards, 2 of his last 3 or 4 runs in the game against Ohio State. 75 yards, a couple carries later, Michigan's next drive, 85 yards, 4 touchdowns. 92 carries in the year. He's missed, 3 or 4 games total and has been hurt in a couple other words. So, only playing 2/3 of a season right now, 687 yards. a third of those against Ohio State, 6 touchdowns, a third of those against Ohio State as well. He is now your running back one, not just for today, not just for this weekend or the college football playoff, but he's going to be your running back one. The eyes of the program are on him going into 2022 as he is now your starting 2023. He's your starting running back for the rest of the season and into next season with the expectation that Blake Corum, of course, goes pro. But I'll ask you guys this question. He popped off over 200 yards against Ohio State. Let me know what you guys think. How many rushing yards will Donovan Edwards have on Saturday night against Purdue? Jack, quick prediction. Jack says 150. I'm going to go 157, Jack. So we'll see who's closer coming up after the game on Saturday. Let me know down in the comments how many rushing yards you think Donovan Edwards will have. And while you guys are down there, if you scroll past, we've added, 300, what was the number, Jack? We said 36, 34 new subscribers just in the last 2 hours since we published the Mozzie Smith video. So if you didn't see that video or if you chose not to subscribe then, well, you're back. So hit the dang subscribe button. Let's get to 24,000 as soon as possible. Thanks so much to the 23,870 that have done it in the past. All right, Michigan's running back depth chart, because Donovan Edwards still has what we're being told, which what I think everyone agrees is a broken hand with a full cast on against Ohio State. He had to carry the ball in his left hand, even when he was running right, which leaves him at risk for fumbling, certainly much higher risk than he would if he put the ball in the proper hand to shield it from the defender. C.J. Stokes, freshman running back out of South Carolina, has showed glimpses, but I don't feel like they used him over the last 2 weeks as much as I would have expected with Corum out. And then redshirt Isaiah Gash. Now, Tavier Dunlap fits in there somewhere. He's got some carries, but we've just seen so little of him and so much of Gash, including in the most critical moments against Illinois 2 weeks ago. I'm putting him as my new running back 3. But outside of the running backs, folks, what about J.J. McCarthy? How about Gus Johnson? I don't know if you guys saw this. Gus Johnson did an interview with, Brad Galley. He's a local, sports guy at the, ABC station? I'm not sure. One of the Detroit TV stations. He does a weekly interview with Jim Harbaugh. I actually find them to be really good. It's like a 2-3 minute interview he puts on Twitter. He did an interview last night that went on to, I think I watched it on Twitter or YouTube. I'll try and find it. I'll link it for you guys if I can find it down in the description and comments of the video. But, this guy did an interview with Gus Johnson, who has called, 5 Michigan games this year, calling the Big Ten championship game this Saturday. He said, and I was surprised, but I guess it makes sense. He said, look, Blake Corum's out. We saw what J.J. McCarthy did against Ohio State, and USC and their quarterback, Caleb Williams, they've got 1 loss. And Georgia doesn't have a quarterback or really any individual player. TCU's quarterback Max Duggan, doesn't have maybe the numbers. Why shouldn't J.J. McCarthy, if he has a big-time game with Blake Corum not playing potentially, why shouldn't J.J. McCarthy win the Heisman? And I'm like, I'm kind of surprised that a guy like Gus Johnson would say that. And he said J.J. could be the favorite coming out of this week, which I don't know if I definitely agree with. But it's not crazy to think about. I don't think he's anywhere near the stats of Heisman Trophy running back or quarterbacks in recent years. Had 4 touchdowns against Ohio State, and his stats for the entire year, folks, they're very, very paltry at this point. 3 passing touchdowns and that 1 rushing touchdown where he put his head right into the chest of an Ohio State defender and barreled over the goal line. 12 of 24 for 263 passing. 3 of those really long touchdown passes, 2 to Cornelius Johnson, and 1 right on the money over the head to Colston Loveland. The offensive philosophy, folks, it drastically changes for this next 3-game run to a national championship. And if Michigan can overcome the loss of Blake Corum and beat Ohio State, beat their first-round opponent, which will likely be TCU, maybe USC, I don't know. I mean, if everyone holds serve and wins their games, it'll be TCU in Phoenix and Glendale in the Fiesta Bowl. And then who do you get after that? You get Georgia or USC. Maybe Ohio State, if one of those teams loses, sneaks in and could pull an upset. But Michigan goes in and wins that game. They've got to rely on Donovan Edwards with a broken hand and J.J. McCarthy in a resurgent passing game that really struggled for 5-6 straight weeks in the middle of the season. You're talking about one of the all-time great stories in college football history, potentially, and Michigan will cement themselves if J.J. McCarthy can rise to the occasion and look like a Heisman level or all-conference level quarterback. You're talking about one of the great stories in college football history if they win a national championship, and the hype for Michigan coming back next season if Donovan Edwards, sophomore, J.J. McCarthy, sophomore, can get it done, folks. I mean, the sky is the limit for this team and this program. So I've always been impressed with J.J. McCarthy's confidence back since he was, just past his 16th birthday when he committed to Michigan in May of 2019. And I think, all eyes will be on him. My confidence is in J.J., and I think it's up to the Michigan football coaching staff to make sure they're running the right plays, right time, and putting the receivers in the right routes to allow McCarthy to hit passes, put himself in contention for maybe a Heisman this year or next, and lead Michigan to their goals. And there's really only one goal left, or two goals left: win the Big Ten, then win the national championship. All right, if you made it to the end of today's video and you watch both videos, the Mazi Smith video, the Blake Corum video, let's kind of boost each other up. But let me know if you did. Boost my spirits as well. Type squad. Make sure that I can see who is watching the entire thing and watching both videos today, despite the fact that they're pretty crappy news. All right, we actually had a different video we're going to put out today, but I think we're just going to hold serve on these two. So you might get a 2 for Friday as well with the Michigan Football Report. So type squad. We will see you guys back on Friday. Go Blue.